Hey, what's up, you guys? All right, I'm back. I got sick. I got busy with something about a week and a half ago that came out that I used to play. Got a little bit involved in that again. But I'm back with the State of the Collection video. I actually really like watching other people's State of the Collection videos. And really, my State of the Collection is it's always in flux. I flip a lot of things. A lot of things I do keep, but a lot of things are rotating in and out. But here we stand at the very beginning of September 2019, and this is what I have in the collection. So this is the watch that started it all. This is the Invicta iForce. I think the reference number is like 23777. So this is, I got this for my birthday from my wife. I was looking for a watch to wear, and she got me this one, and I didn't know at the time that it was mechanical. I took it out and sort of kind of set the time, and I must have incidentally shaken the movement. So it was running for a couple minutes, and then it stopped, and I thought, oh, that's weird. I wonder why it stopped. The battery must be dead. And then I flipped it over, and my eyes were greeted by this Seiko NH35 movement. And that was pretty much it for me. I went down the rabbit hole of learning about watches, learning about mechanical movements. I just never really knew too much about it, and then I got really into it. So I really like this watch, and I very quickly got more interested in watches. So this is basically the start of the madness, was this Invicta. And this actually isn't a bad watch. This is 42 millimeters case. I think it's about 50 millimeters lug to lug, and then it's about almost 13, almost 14 thick. And then you do have the NH35. You have that kind of Invicta decorated yellow rotor. So you do get hacking and hand winding with this guy. So you can wind, just a push-pull crown, and then you can hack so you can stop the second hands. But yeah, this is the first watch, and I do wear it. This is not the strap it came on. This is actually a Watch Gecko strap, and it matches its IP black, and it actually matches really well. This IP black coating, and it's just sort of a what would you call that? A butterfly deployment. So yeah, I like this one. It's a little bit big from what I'm used to now. I tend to wear a little bit smaller, but I'll get your rich shot. But what you do notice is that I'm 6 3/4 inch wrist, by the way. What you will notice is, sorry, it's kind of dirty. Watches that have this like IP black or any kind of black finish, they do look a little bit smaller, especially with a black dial. White dials and the stainless steel cases tend to make watches look a little bit bigger. But this is kind of the maximum I would like to wear on my wrist. It doesn't quite overhang the lug to lug, and it doesn't actually look that big because it's 42. And my favorite color is orange, so I really like the orange hands, the orange second hand. I guess the only things I would improve on this watch, I wish they had done a black date wheel to match the date wheel. And then I think the indices are a little long. I think they could have been a little shorter to kind of balance out some of the negative space in the middle of the dial. So anyways, that's the watch. That's the one that started it all. The Invicta iForce. And then I went through a number of watches that I don't have anymore. And then the next watch I got is that's still in the collection. It'll probably never leave the collection, is the Seiko Sarx055. So this watch is kind of like one of the most popular, one of the best bang for your buck. It is discontinued, but you can still get them. So this is a 38 millimeter, really nice size. And it's I think it's about 45 millimeters on the lug to lug. And then it's pretty thin. It's like 12 thick. You have the Seiko 6R15. So that's a slightly nicer movement in here. It does hack and hand wind. You have the exhibition case back, or the open case back. You can kind of see the, try to get it to focus for you, kind of undecorated. You have a little bit of like, I guess that's like Geneva striping maybe on the rotor. And then this is just a 21,600 beats per hour. But this watch, I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. It's a really nice watch. The bracelet's not so great. I have it on this Christopher Ward strap. And then I do want to point out, if you have leather straps, it's really worth getting a deployant, because it'll kind of save the strap. It'll last a lot longer because you're putting a lot less pressure. You don't bend it as much. You kind of just close it. You basically lock it into one position that fits your wrist, and then it kind of just stays like that. And then all of the kind of work of the closing and opening it is on this clasp here. So this is from mywatchmaker.net. These are, I think he calls this the RHD double deployant. This is about a $30 deployant. This is a really good deployant. it's kind of loved on the internet if you kind of search for a good deployant, because deployant clasps can actually be kind of expensive, but this is like, it's really secure. It deploys really well. It's just a great deployant, and I think it will really add to the longevity of your leather strap. So getting this on a leather strap just really classes it up. But this is kind of just a do-everything watch. It's obviously dressy, but it's also a little bit sporty. You have the lume and the white on the second hand, or sorry, on the minute and hour hand, and that really helps. Like, we're in super bright lighting conditions right now, but it really helps like when you're in more natural lighting conditions. And a lot of times with the dress watches, you lose the hands as you in certain lighting, but you never lose these hands because that white is always catching the light. There's something about it. I don't know. This watch is just, in the finishing on the case, you have this really cool mix, like polish and brush, this like step up on the edge of the case here. This one will be with me forever, I think. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this one. So next in the collection, we have the Orient Ray II. I got one of these to check out. I kind of wanted to do head-to-head with the SKX. I ended up keeping this. I like the SKX too, but I really like hacking and hand winding. So this is kind of like the hacking hand winding alternative to the SKX. And then I have it on this Uncle Seiko's waffle strap that I did a review of. I really like that waffle strap. But yeah, this is about, I think, 41 millimeter case, about 47, I think, on the lug to lug, maybe 46 and a half. And then it's like 13 thick. No exhibition case back. You just have a screw down case back. It does say 200 meters water resistant. I don't think it has an iOS standard. You have 120 click bezel, and I like the blue. I just, it's very sunbursty, and I just really like that deep blue, and I like the applied indices. Good lume. I think I'll keep this. Just, it's a really good watch to benchmark against other watches, because you can get one of these for I think like $140. So it really represents a lot of quality. There is the replacement to this, the Mako 3, that you can get for about a little bit north of 200, that adds sapphire. And then I think you have the complete package on that one. This one's just mineral. Oh, I forgot to mention the Invicta has, they call it Flame Fusion. I think it's sapphire coated. And then the SRB03 does have the sapphire crystal on it. So this one's just mineral glass. Just a really fun diver, and I like the color. And the bracelet wasn't that great. I really like it on the rubber strap, especially for summer. Next up, I have the Seiko SSA03. This is an open heart, kind of a dress watch. And then you have the NH, I think it's 39 in this one. It's the, you lose the date, but you gain a 24-hour complication. And then obviously you have this open heart here. And sorry, ooh, let's see if I can get it to focus. Sorry about the wobble there. So you have the open heart, and then you have a, not a date, but a 24-hour subregister. I think it's like one of the most useful movement complications, especially when you don't have a date. You don't have to worry about being in the right position to change the date. But it does kind of break up the dial. It kind of balances out the dial. And then it's hard to catch in this light, but these hands are blue. And I really love the counterbalance. That moon on the second hand is really cool. And then this is my only watch with Roman numerals. I kind of like them. I like this watch a lot. I think this one will also stay in the collection. This is one I was very interested in when I was first looking at watches. And then, as tends to be the case with a lot of my watches, I guess I didn't realize this till I'm doing the state of the collection, I switched the stock band off this one too. This is a Barton. These are like $25 on Amazon, I think. I'm really happy with this strap. The blue is nice. Obviously it's not like real crocodile or whatever. It's top grain leather, which I've heard is slightly better than genuine leather. I'm not a professional, or I don't have a lot of knowledge about different leather quality, but I've been happy with this one so far. I think I really want to get another deployant for this one to kind of retain, because you do put a lot of wear on this part of the strap as you are putting it on and off every day. So I think I'll order another one of those deployants for this guy. But yeah, this is another one I think will stay in the collection. All right, so that brings us to the Dan Henry 1964. Dan Henry's awesome. I've had other Dan Henry watches. They're all really high quality. This one's no exception. It's a kind of a chronograph. It's the 1964, kind of supposed to, Dan Henry has a massive collection of vintage watches, and then he's kind of been not reissuing, but pulling on those classic designs to make watches available. Most of them are quartz, but he did have one mechanical. It's a really great way to get like a vintage styled watch and not have to worry about servicing or if the watch is going to break or if there's parts for it. So I really like Dan Henry stuff. This is 38 millimeters, great size, and I think it's about, the lug to lug I think is 45 millimeters, and then it's quite thick. It's 13 thick, but you do have a full like millimeter and a half of that domed crystal. It's really cool. It's does distortion. It's got air coating. You can see the blue, and it's also like sapphire coated. It's not technically sapphire, but you'll notice none of my watches have any damage to any of the crystals. I think I'm pretty careful, maybe more careful than most. But yeah, I'm kind of fine with mineral glass. Sapphire isn't always a requirement for me. It's nice, but I've been really lucky. I've only scratched one. It actually was a Dan Henry. I think I hit like a brick wall or something with the glass and it did scratch. But that's what they offer on those. I don't think they have, I think some of their watches might have sapphire now, but this one's sapphire coated. It came with this stock bracelet that I really like. It's a very comfortable kind of beads of rice style. Really, it should be called, I think, grains of rice style, but yeah, beads of rice style. Deployant here, no micro adjust, but because these links are so small, it's pretty easy to get a good fit. This has the mecha quartz, so when you initiate it, it does kind of have a sweep there, and then it has the quick snapback, because the snapback is a mechanical release, even though the watch is quartz. I got the one with the date complication. You can get it with a no date. I think these are still available. I think only one of Dan Henry's models has sold out. This is a very popular one though, and the stock is getting pretty low. This one I think will stay in the collection, but I really like it. Yeah, we'll have to see. I always think every watch is always on the chopping block with me, but I've been happy with this one so far. So next is the Sarx055. This is kind of the flagship of my collection. This is the baby Grand Snowflake. I really someday want to own a real snowflake. The Grand Seiko Snowflake. I did get to see one of those in real life, actually in the boutique in Japan, and they're really amazing. But that's a maybe like a midlife crisis watch or something. It's too expensive for me at this time to drop that much money into a single watch. So I got this to be my wedding watch and kind of fill that gap. And this is my favorite watch by far. It also has the 6R15, so you get hacking and hand winding. And, you just have this miraculous dial. Let's see if we can get it to go. You have this really nice dial that it's kind of like, I think it looks like ice, and then you have an amazing AR coating on this, so you can kind of see all the way to the dial really easily. You don't get very many reflections, which kind of really lets the dial pop. And then the finishing on those hands is just really amazing. This is all titanium, so the bracelet's really nice. This is one of the watches I will not change the bracelet, because the bracelet is such a good part of the package. You do have only the 6R15. That's the main complaint about this watch. People would like to see a better movement in it. I'm fine with the 6R15. This one's pretty accurate. My SRB is more accurate, but I'm pretty happy with the movement in this. Yeah, but you just have it's fully titanium. It's really light. It's a joy to wear. It's very comfortable. You have the date on this one, and I really like that the second hand is blue. It's a little bit hard to catch in the light. I don't think it's heat treated. I think it's painted, but they did a really great job on that one. This one will obviously stay in the collection forever because I wore it when I got married. So that's the Sarx055. A couple watches left. I have the Seiko 55 Fathoms, kind of a play on the 50 Fathoms. This is the SNZ-H57. This one's 42 millimeters, 47 lug to lug, and about 13.5 thick. You have a domed mineral crystal on this one, 120 click bezel. day date complication. This is the 7S26. I don't think this will survive the collection very much longer. I really wanted to check one out for the channel, and this is a really popular one. It comes in other colorways, a blue colorway that's really cool. And I think what's my favorite part of this watch is that glass bezel. So the bezel is actually like, I think it's Hardlex, as the same as the crystal. So you have that glass bezel, and then the markers on it are actually under the glass. This one's really cool. But again, 7S26 doesn't really bother me. You do have, I mean, it does. I think I like hacking and hand winding. I don't know. I guess I could live without it, but. So you have the 7S26 display case back. You only have 100 meters water resist on these sports divers. They're not, I guess, true divers, and just a push-pull crown. You don't screw down here. But yeah, this one was pretty cool. I wanted to check it out, and I think it definitely, in real life, it's really cool, especially if you put it on a black NATO. I think it needs to live on a black NATO. The bracelet's fine. It's kind of like the samurai style bracelet. It's got the mostly polished, but you have these high polished parts. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the bracelet. It's this press clasp with the safety double deployment. But yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to pick one of these up if you're looking for like a really fun sports diver, not a real true diver you could dive watch. These are really cool, and I think these are gonna dry up. I don't know what Seiko's planning when they have that new refresh on the 5 line. I have a feeling they're gonna stop producing a lot of these other Seiko 5s. I mean, who knows? It's pure speculation. But if they're gonna be making 27 new models, I would imagine that would displace some of the other Seiko 5 production. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with the inner workings of a Seiko production. And then last but not least, my most recent addition is the Nodus Contrail. This one is a micro brand based out of LA. I've been extremely happy with this watch so far. It's great size. It's 39, but it's actually 40 with the bezel. This stainless steel bezel I love. You have a bi-directional. This is kind of be like it's supposed to be like a travel watch, so you kind of have the GMT, the poor man's GMT kind of with the bezel, but you have ball bearings in here. It's a ball bearing system, 3 ball bearings. So it's what I really like about this, a lot of watches, they do these, GMTs are very popular right now, and they make it so, but they do it on the regular dive, so it's only one direction. Sorry, a little bit hard to turn under the camera, but on this one it's not unidirectional, sorry. Like a lot of people just use the same dive mechanic spring. So it's one direction, but on this watch, you can turn it both ways, which is what you really want in a GMT. And then in this one, this is my only 28 beats per hour watch. This is the Miyota 9015, which is a great movement. Everything about this watch, this watch represents ultimate price point for me. They hit every detail that I like to see in a watch. You have a screw down crown, sapphire glass, hacking hand winding, 28.8 beats per hour. The hour, minute, and second hands are all perfectly, like, they hit the right place on the dial. So many watches, the hour hand, minute hand, and second hand are too short. But on this watch, they go all the way to the edge. I like to see that. You have drilled lugs, another thing I love. This bracelet, which is really nice, has a lot of micro positions. That's important. It has screw links, single screw links, so you just screw from one side. Just every detail. Like, you can tell these guys know what they're doing. You can tell they're watch fanatics. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on Nodus in the future. I think they have a watch coming out in October. That's going to be a field watch, but I'm always looking at Nodus. I can't recommend them enough. I'm really happy with this watch. I have one more watch. I think no collection is complete without the Casio F91W. It's basically the most affordable. Maybe it's not the most affordable. I think it is. I think it's like $12 on Amazon, but this watch is great. I wear this like when I'm doing errands or not errands, but like yard work. I don't want to ding up one of my other watches. And it just keeps great time. It weighs almost nothing. It's very comfortable. It's water resistant, but I shower in this thing. If it breaks, it breaks. I'll get a new one. But yeah, you can't go wrong with one of these. This is it's like the cheapest, best watch you can get. And it's classic Casio. It just reminds me of I had a watch like this. I had like a calculator watch when I was a kid, and it just brings me back. So that's the whole state of the collection. I have a few other things coming in. I'll do a wrist shot of all these to kind of wrap up the video. I have some things coming in for review, and I'll try to get back on my regular schedule. But I thought I'd take a break to document, mostly for myself, but also for you guys, just kind of where my collection was in this near the end of 2019. So let me go through these wrist shots, and feel free to ask any questions about these watches. I can have links to where you can find them in the description. So here's the Seiko SRB03 on my 6 3/4 inch wrist with that leather bracelet. And here's the Seiko SSA, the open heart on that Barton blue leather strap. And here's the Orient Ray II on my wrist, about 41 millimeters on that guy. Looks pretty good with that rubber strap. And here's the Dan Henry 1964 on that beads of rice style bracelet, domed crystal, perfect size. And here's the Seiko Sarx055 Baby Grand Snowflake on that titanium bracelet, titanium case. And here's the Seiko 55 Fathoms, the SNZ H57, and that's the stock bracelet there. And here's the Nodus Contrail, 39 millimeters, 40 with that case, and that one's on the stock H-Link bracelet. Got that boxed sapphire. It's pretty cool. And just for fun, here's the Casio F91W on the stock bracelet. All right, so I think last thing I'll do is line up all the watches that actually have lume that's worth showing, and just kind of do a little lume battle for you. So we've got 2 Seikos, an Orient, and a Nodus. I'm going to charge them up with the black light, and then I'll lower the studio lights and just kind of give you an idea of the lume on these guys. So we do have some ambient light in here, but as you can see, yeah, they all do quite well. The Seiko's, I think it's called Lumibright, is always pretty impressive. But Orient is never far behind, and then Nodus did a great job on their lume. And the one thing I love about the Nodus is you have that 12 o'clock at the bezel, that lume pip looks pretty cool. And yeah, these will last pretty long. The 55 Fathoms, you only have really lume on the hands and a little bit on the markers you can kind of see at the edge. And it's kind of the same style as the SRB03. But yeah, these are the 4 watches that actually have pretty decent lume. Technically, the Dan Henry and the Invicta have lume, but it's it's not even worth showing on camera. All right, that's it for me this week, guys. You can go ahead and ask me any questions about any of these watches. I think I've reviewed all of them except the Invicta, and I'll be back with some new stuff hopefully next week. I really want to get a video out each week. More realistically, it'll probably be every other week, but try to never go more than 2 weeks. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.